So this time we're talking about Moby Dick by Herman Melville.
Herman Melville.
Hmm. I'd say it's a classic, right?
Yeah, I think it's a classic.
Except I have not read it.
It's very long. So,
Courtney.
But
I just feel like this entire video is gonna be filled with like that's what she said moments, and I'm gonna
I know I
try
had a
to
very
not
hard
say
time posting a Instagram post without it being like a joke.
it. Flagged for inappropriateness.
Yes.
Has anyone else here read it though, or seen the movie?
No, I don't think so.
all I know is it had something to do with a whale. That's all I know.
I thought it was about a boy who got eaten by a whale, and then I realized that's Pinocchio. So I know nothing about Moby Dick.
Jonah also got eaten.
Jonah and the whale.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Is that a biblical story?
I believe so.
Hmm.
I think so.
Maybe.
Well, tell us a synopsis. What is it about?
So there's this guy, Ishmael. Have you heard of Ishmael? A famous saying, call me Ishmael. So he decides that he wants to go become a whaling person, just kind of randomly. And so basically the story is him learning how to become I think they're called whalers. I don't know, a whaler.
Yeah.
So it's basically a story of him. He finds the captain and the ship he wants to go on. And then he finds out after they've set sail that the captain has this obsession with finding Moby Dick, which is the white whale. And it's basically their adventure finding the white whale or Moby Dick.
Does it ever say specifically what kind of whale Moby Dick is? Is it a beluga or?
No, it's a sperm whale, an albino sperm whale.
Why was it called Moby Dick, and why were they looking for this specific whale?
So early on in Captain Ahab's life, I don't know, this is going to be spoilers, okay? Spoilers. So early in Captain Ahab's life, he got into an accident and Moby Dick ate his leg. So this whole story is about him seeking revenge or trying to kill Moby Dick because he's angry.
Sounds like a little bit of similar to Peter Pan and the crocodile.
Yes.
That's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah, and you know what's creepy? So it bit off his leg. So he has a whale jaw as his stump. So he had the carpenter sand it down to so he's walking around on this whale jaw instead of I don't know, a wooden leg.
Weird.
It's creepy.
Did you say it's a true story?
Okay, so I did not know this until I started trying to watch the movie, and there's 10 movies, and it says that Moby Dick was inspired by a true story. So something of this nature happened. I don't think it's the exact story, but it's inspired by.
Okay, well, since we're in spoilers, do they find the whale? Or what happens in the end? Because I don't think I'm going to read this big book.
So you will read this whole book, and I will tell you that, let me see, hold on. There's 574 pages.
It's a long one.
Whale once, or they think they see the whale once, but they're not sure if it's the moon shimmering on the water or if it's the whale. Then they actually encounter the whale at page 546. So you read 546 pages without seeing the whale at all. Or, I mean, they think they saw it one time, but I'm like, no. So they do find him, but he's apparently a very angry whale, and he has like a lot of revenge of his own, and he's like, they describe him as having these harpoons stuck in him. So like he's got away so many times. So he gets away, and in his getting away, he kills Captain Ahab. He gets like strangled in the rope of the harpoon, and Moby Dick takes him underwater, and he dies.
Oh.
And then the people on the Pequod, which is the boat, the name of the boat, they're like, well, we have to hunt him down, but they don't. In the book, they don't kill him. So yeah, it's just a really stupid, like
What a weird
just
story of
he wastes his
displaced
life.
anger.
Is there supposed to be like a moral to this story? Like, don't
Listen
see
to Starbuck, maybe. So first mate, his name is Starbuck, and that is what Starbucks is named after. So that's a fun fact.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So the whole time Starbucks like, I think since we're a whaling ship, maybe we should get some whales, cash in the blubber, you know, pay the people who own our ship, and they get in this huge fight, and Captain Ahab threatens to shoot him. And Starbucks like, fine, if this is what we're doing, then we'll do it. And the whole time he keeps saying, I think we should try to catch a whale and give up on Moby Dick. The whole time. And Ahab's like, nope, nope, nope. And in the end, he dies. And
What
Starbucks,
happens to
yes,
Starbuck?
nothing really happens to him.
So I take it this is not a book you would recommend.
I don't know. So it was like, Herman Melville is like a poet. So the writing is very, very poetic. And I know we didn't like that in some of our other books. Look, judging by Kelly's face. She's like, no. So like the things he writes.
That's a really long poem. Like
Yeah.
even if I liked poetry, I'd be like, really?
It's like really well written, but it's like never ending. So they like, anytime they do anything, they describe it. Like they go how they make the ship, the different types of whales, even though you never encounter any of these other whales. You hear about all these other different kinds of whales, how to make the ship, like how to sail the ship, and all this stuff about like the tackle and blah, blah, blah. Several chapters, I'm like, no, I do not care how they do this.
Do you
But
think that's why it's a classic, is just how well it's written, not necessarily what it's written about?
yeah, I think it has to be how well it's written. Because I'm like, I was so confused. I'm like, how do people like think this is like one of the greatest novels of all time? Like it's well written, but it's like the longest book about sailing. Like they literally, every chapter is like, we see a ship, we're gonna see what they're up to, ask if they've seen the white whale. If they haven't, we just keep going. And that's like 10 chapters. And I'm like, what? I was so confused because I'm like, how did all these people like this? And I'm like, this is so long, like never ending. So I don't know. I think you could read it if you like the chapters are all labeled what they talk about, like the anatomy of this whale. I mean, you can just skip that. You don't miss any of the story.
Watch, we're gonna be on a cruise or something, and Andrea's suddenly gonna know how to steer the ship once the captain dies. She'll be like, I read Moby Dick once. I know how to sail. And she'll be like, oh, look at that sperm whale.
She
Look how big
fashions the
his fin is.
harpoon.
Yeah. Yeah, they tell you how they make the harpoon. Like they fashion a harpoon. A blacksmith lives on the ship. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God, Andrea turns 40 and turns into a whaler.
No. The first part of the
She didn't need to go to school or learn a trade. She read the book.
no, and that's what the guys are like, well, I'm kind of sick of land. I'm just gonna become a whaler. And that's who Ishmael is. I mean, he wasn't a whaler. The first part of the book, they talk about his life, how he got there, his friends he meets. He gets married to a Native American guy, and they go on the ship together. And then that part's interesting because it's like them doing stuff, like a story. And there's a bunch of stuff about like logistics and technicalities and like types of whales. And then you get to the end and you're like chasing this whale. And then you're like, what the hell? They don't catch him. But apparently, like, so I watched a movie and I was confused. So I watched a movie and it was 1956. So I watched a movie, and in the movie, they all die except Ishmael. And it says, like, that's how he is there to tell the story. But in the book, they don't. And so I reread that part because I was like, did they? It's like, no, I don't think so. But I really wanted it to be over because I had other books to read. So I was like, maybe I missed something.
I really like skimmed the whole book.
There are a lot of chapters I skimmed, I will admit.
Well, at least you can scratch it off your poster.
I did. Yes.
That's satisfying.
Yeah.
But is it worth it?
I don't know. I'm going to wait a little while to read 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea because I don't know if I can do any more water
But
books.
you already read that one.
No.
Oh.
Thinking about suggesting it for book club, but then there are too many other books I wasn't interested in, so I still haven't read that one.
Is it by the same author?
No.
Well, at least you'll get all the like Jeopardy questions about whales and such, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could say you learned something. Was it the point of the story? I don't know. To me, that's just like a story. It's just a story about displaced anger. Like, way to hold a grudge on an animal.
They like have this like theory that if you have a head of a whale, a right whale on one side, and a head of a sperm whale on one side, your ship will never sink. So they just have these heads like rotting, hanging off the side of their boat. I'm like, that's so gross.
You know, I don't know much about it, but I know like sea people, not like present day like Navy, not like that, but sea people, like sailors and stuff. I know they were superstitious, like to an extreme.
They're very superstitious, according to this book. But he did a lot of research, apparently. And that's why it's so like so much, because he did all this research on. There's a documentary about him writing the book too. If anyone's interested in that, I have not watched it.
What would you rate it?
So I rated it a C+, which is kind of higher than expected, but I really did think the writing was really good. I just thought it was a little drug out, a little bit.
I thought that would have rated higher with how much you hear about that book in like day-to-day life. Like everybody mentions it.
Yeah, I was really surprised that I didn't like it more. I was like, well, I mean, War and Peace, everyone talks about that, and that was also a very long book, but it was more stuff happened in it. It was more interesting. Maybe like whaling people like this kind of book, but
are there
all the modern day whalers out there?
yeah. They're like,
hi, if you're a modern whaler, please comment and let us know about your superstitions and such.
They don't strike me as the type to like poetic writing. I could be wrong, but
yeah, so I give it a C+. Because I thought it was good writing. It was just very, very, very drawn out.
Did you like the movie better?
Yes, because the movie, like, we're like an hour into the movie, I'm like, well, that's 3/4 of the book. Like, blow through it. Like, they skip all that extra stuff. So I would say this is like one of the few ones I thought the movie was better than the book.
Good to know. I won't be adding Moby Dick to my Amazon cart.
But Courtney, it's on the scratch out poster.
Yeah.
You already said it wasn't worth it.
But according to this review,
technically the poster doesn't specify which version you have to read, right? Like, can I read a children's version of Moby Dick?
Like your children's version of
Tom Sawyer?
Tom Sawyer.
Yeah. Did we ever tell you what happened with that? We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where there are two versions.
Liz and I were reading the children's version of Tom Sawyer, where Courtney was reading the adult version. And she was like, oh, I really like this chapter. I love this writing. And Liz and I are like, what's wrong with Courtney? This is so bland. It was like, I painted a fence today. And Courtney's over there with like this poetic.
It really spoke to me. I really got it. You guys feel like
I was like interpreting the text and like underlying meanings, and they're like, what? Did you get that? I painted the fence today.
It took us half the book to realize Liz and I were reading the wrong one.
Took that long?
oh my gosh.
Well, it was
Okay, so
really long. Like, it's not a super long book, especially when you're reading the children's version, which is like the chapters were like 2 pages long. Yeah.
so wait,
I'm
were you
Huckleberry fan, not Tom Sawyer.
were you thinking that you and Liz were kind of the dumb ones and Courtney was really smart, or were you like Courtney's really
They
dumb?
thought I
for being-
We thought Courtney was the dumb one because she was liking this book and getting so much from it, where we were like, I don't know why she thinks this is such great literature.
We're like, we should call mom and have a talk about it.
We might have had side conversations.
Poor Court.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But now we send links to the books. Problem.
Yes.
But, well, anything else you want to add, Andrea?
I don't think so. Starbucks was my fun fact.
Love it. There you
You
have
don't
it.
have any fun whale facts or anything?
No.
Okay.
Their arms are called flukes.
Flutes.
Flukes.
That's a nice fact.
I'm gonna use that.
In
I'm
Jeopardy.
gonna work that into my day to day.